want to jump right into it. Obviously,
Hey, hey.
welcome back. But what we're going to be talking about in this video is kind of the play style of what you experience when you're playing Marathon. A lot of people will talk about the
Follow me.
shells and they'll talk about what each individual one does. But I don't think we really look into the granular, smaller, micro play styles that have to happen along the way for you to be successful at playing Marathon. But here's the thing. Just because you're able to do it once doesn't mean that it's something that's going to be able to be done twice or in a sequence that is ABC. A being load in, B being having like a successful run, looting up and gearing, and then C being completion. You get the X fill every time. It's just not realistic inside of an extraction shooter. But as we kind of like go through this gameplay here, I do want to just talk about how I approached the game, or at least how I approached this game. Now, I know that you guys see that, we did have a few missions in the top right there. And one of them was like loot a locker. And I had been looking to loot a locker
Pay
for
attention.
maybe like 4 or 5 runs, but it just wasn't working out. But in that process, knowing that I had to go in and do something where I'm looking for a specific thing. A big part of my mindset as we headed into the game was how can I further set myself up for success and approach situations with a full idea of like what's going on. So I made again that micro mindset change that would translate to gameplay. And that was to go with a long range weapon and mid-range weapon. This way, I kind of reel myself back in and play within the means that my weapons excel. Uh, so, what we'll be reviewing right here, and as I talk about it, is just again those micro decisions. Like even here, as I approach, switch to my AR, mid-range. I'm hearing shots. This play style here, or this mindset that I'm going into this with, is I'm willing to wait my turn. It's a methodical game, not ABC. So here's where A, I made the
Danger.
decisions on the
Danger.
weapons that I wanted. B, I'm in the run and I'm actively choosing to play it slow. There are some players out there that will decide to run the whole time, but then there's so much going on. You got your feet, you got your team's feet, you got gunshots going off. You're not getting familiar with the sounds that you're hearing. And I think it's so important to know when to go. Okay, is this a player weapon? Is this a NPC weapon? And the only way you learn that is through playing with multiple weapons. Right here, I see my teammate go down, and I decide this is the time to kind of move around. Now, most players they just run in, they say, "Hey, I got a knock. I'm gonna go in and finish this off," but that isn't always the best situation. Um, Even though my teammates down after get a knock, it's so important that I just really stick to my mindset of what matters most, and that's really just extending the fight as long as I can, enough to make the other players to some extent feel safe within their skin. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm focusing on here. Just really playing it slow. Now, if you're one of the players who like to play fast, a perfect shell for you might be the assassin or thief or even the destroyer because it's just such an offensive and defensive thing, and then assassin being such a stealth
A
thing.
rift of
So you
anomalous
play a
energy
little bit
is
more loose and
manifesting
on the
in the
ropes.
area.
which is
Signal
fine. But
recall
again,
window
you're
closes
inviting
in 20
so
minutes.
much to come in and just jump on you, whether it's NPCs, which are, I would consider way more deadly than players because they give away your position. Even when you're not necessarily in sight, they'll shoot in your direction or they'll come into a building and now it's forcing you to move, which I love because it's causing players to not be stagnant. But at the same time, again, playing fast does put you in positions where you're making extra movements that you don't need to make. Lastly, you have the players who just don't move at all. And they're a very unique bunch because the game really doesn't develop, at least in my mind. You're kind of waiting around and waiting around and waiting around. And I
The
think there
novice
is
rift has
success in that play
coalesced into a
style.
physical
However,
science.
the con of it is I feel like rarely those players get an opportunity to do something that's special within like the game as far as like rare items, rare weapons, um, certain trophies. The reality is just sitting there doesn't allow you that opportunity to really go out and enjoy the game in a way where you feel connected to the combat. And realistically, the game is mainly about that. You have your lore, but you also have your combat that you want to be uh, really in the center of it. So I would recommend just really choosing one of those play styles. Are you going to play you know process A or the first way that I was telling you guys, which is like adaptable, along the fly, willing to get in the
Warning,
fight, making a
reinforcements.
decision of how you want to fight before you go into the game. B, just or two, option two, just going in and seeing what happens, which is fine. And then lastly, just kind of like thinking back, really allowing the game to happen and coming out last. You know, for me, I know what my choice is. I want to interact with the game. I want to play the game. I want to think the game. I want to be present with my teammates. Um, and I feel like that's important to just be able to kind of adapt on the fly. You never know what's going to happen. You never know how, what you're playing against. And I think that's what makes up the whole game too. Getting those styles to all come together. And I know right now we're like jumping through a lot of different conceptual things when it comes to extraction shooter. But again, this is all those nuanced micro aggressions or micro passive things that you can do within your gameplay. Now, one of the things I really want to talk about, and I touched base on it earlier, is sound cues. How familiar are how familiar are you with sounds? How comfortable are you with knowing there's a player running up, they're getting closer, there's shots all around me, there's NPCs all around me, and maybe you're hearing all these things, but nothing is necessarily happening to you. Sometimes that's a great time to practice trigger discipline. Um, you don't have to necessarily engage with everything that you hear. Sometimes you have to wait it out. You have to really just sit with it and go, when is my time? And pick it. And that's not possible without, again, familiarity to the sound, familiarity to the world. Are you listening to the birds? Are you listening again to the weapons? Are you listening to how they fire? So I wanna pause and really allow y'all to see what I mean by sound familiarity. So I'm gonna allow you guys to watch a little bit here, and then I'm gonna come back to you.
Connection collapse in 15 minutes.
Now, you guys got to hear a lot of things that were happening, but after I threw that, I heard the fighting behind me. Now, as I approach this, I know this is not necessarily a normal NPC interaction. Now, again, I'm going to pause because some things happen here that I want to explain. I see shots flying both ways. I know
Trouble
one is
spotted.
from an NPC, one's from a player. A ping, trying to get the drop to see what I can kind of take from this situation. Nothing's happening to me, but I have enough information at this moment to move forward. Now I have the visual. You want to make sure you have the right things. The shooting continues. Teammate gets a drop. I'm pushing over. Microaggression. Hear the NPC above me. I believe this is a UESC commander. I'm making a decision to get opposite of my team during the firefight. I'm engaging with the NPC. This makes the player feel comfortable to run out. Here we are. Now, I don't know if you guys heard the feet, but if you guys go back right before that firefight happened, you'll hear kind of like some thuds, some do, 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 do. I throw the smoke just to give myself a little bit of cover as I go through the bag. And as I'm going through the bag, I'm listening. On my right hand side, I hear the commander that I just shot off. I know nobody else is down here with me. Okay, now I know it's safe. Now I re-engage to help on my team. Again, I take the backside, give myself a little bit of cover. And then we proceed. Again, it is so important to hone in on the little things and pay attention. These are the things that can more gracefully lead you down that path to success, as
Weapon
opposed to
arrived.
maybe
A rival
just
crew has escaped with the anomalous sample.
running into the game, not thinking the game, not making in-game decisions for the betterment of everybody. And here you can see our teammate goes in and they finally finish they start their task, and they decide that after this that they do want to leave. I know I clicked the extraction, but they decide, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and head out. And I'm like, no problem. Let's go ahead and do that. But I just want to thank you guys for watching the video. And more importantly, I just want to know, how are you enjoying Marathon? What's your play style? What are you doing? What's your favorite weapon? And what's your favorite shell? How are you engaging with the game? All right. We'll see you all in the next one. And stick around. Maybe some YouTube shorts are going to drop here shortly. And hopefully you guys enjoy them. All right. Bye bye.
Exfil right here.